Did the notes help?
Oh yeah.
Those notes that I sent?
Yeah. First, like with kind of like just like the overview of everything, and then I think the part that spoke out to me the most was like, be yourself. We're not looking for your youth lead or your youth leader. We're looking for you. Uh, and it helps to kind of like just realize like, hey, you don't always have to have the churchy answer to be you. You don't have to always be the outside of church to be you. At the end of the day, we're focused on blending, not what's the word, like, no, we're not on imagery. We're kind of on like the inside.
Yeah. Please tell me your name, what campus you attend, and what school you go to.
My name is Xavier Therian. I'm a senior at John Dover North High School, and I also go to Hunter Park.
Tell me a little bit about your life growing up. What was life like as young X?
Life growing up was like a little different than most kids because I had a mom who was trying her best to be something she never knew much about. I'm technically her first kid that she kept her whole life. Like my siblings were taken into foster care at a young age, so she didn't get to raise them like how she raised me. So life was always this like kind of like, I guess kind of like imbalance in some areas where I didn't know what I was doing, and she didn't know if she needed to correct me or not in those areas. And so like it kind of affected my judgment a lot, especially when I was like really young. Like I used to go to Highland Elementary. Shout out the Hornets, they're amazing. But I ended up getting like expelled like first grade year because I was just like I had violent outbursts. Like I was didn't like to follow the rules. I remember one day specifically we had to go inside because we couldn't play on this little playground where the kindergarten class had their own playground. So it was like this, you had the classrooms right here and then you had the playground right here. And there was a fence around it, so only you had to go through the kindergarten classes to get in. I remember we were supposed to play that day. I was waiting, it rained. The teacher's like, no, don't do it, we're going inside. I said, no, I want to play. And I remember just running out and playing in the rain when I wasn't supposed to, and I got called into the office for it, and my mom got called. And like she just looked at me and we went on the ride home and she was just like, what are you doing? Like, I know you're a kid, but like, you know, you're supposed to follow the rules. So it was always that constant, like, it's on you. You know what you're supposed to do. And that was just kind of like how I rose up. And then I ended up moving schools because my mom had work. Since she had been a recovering addict, she wanted to be in that field to help others recover. So she got this job where she was a driver for the recovering addicts. So at this home, so what she did is like drive them to their court dates, doctor's appointments, everywhere because technically they weren't allowed to go outside the facility. And we ended up moving out to Harupa for her job. And so I ended up going to this new school called Pacific Avenue. I'm about in the 4th grade now. And it was so hard to find friends because I was the weird kid that like stood out a lot. I'll be honest, I was a fat kid. Like I was super short, super fat, right? And so my clothes would always fit tight on me. And I would wear like bright color clothing. Like I was the red and blue short kid. And I'm also like a little bit colorblind. I didn't learn that till like a year ago. But so I got these shoes that I really liked. They were Nerf. Or not Nerf, they were New Balances, but I called them Nerf because they had N on them and I thought that's what they were. They were really comfortable, really cool. They were this dark blue, but the logo was bright, but to me it looked red. I ended up learning that it was pink. And my mom tried telling me, I'm like, no, it's red, Mom. You can't see that color, it's red. And so I went to school with my bright new shoes, feeling cool, feeling fresh, and I got picked on heavily for it, like really bad. Kids are mean, you know, like kids are really hurtful. And it kind of shut me down a lot. And this is about the time where I like started questioning like, why isn't my dad here? Because per that story, my dad actually was married to my mom and we lived together. Like it was a whole family. In the same apartment I still live in now, my dad used to be there. And one day, I remember they got into a really big fight. most vivid like memory I have too, where it's like they're just fighting, and my dad just leaves, and I don't see him anymore after that. Like they're done. We don't talk about him, or if they did, it wasn't around me, and it never like clicked in my brain, like, oh, like he's gone. It was always that like he's coming back, you know. And so fourth grade me starts questioning more and more, and I'm now getting angry more and more because I'm getting bullied at school, and then at home, my dad's not there. My mom and me are like not always getting along because she doesn't know what she's doing. She's doing her best, you know, but I couldn't understand that. Like I talked to my sister. I'm very close with my older sister. I'll get more into her later on about like how like the reason why I'm here today is because of her. But she was like she was my ride or die basically. Um, and then my other sister, also my ride or die. Both my sisters are like they're like that. They're like I have that sister relationship with those two where it's like it's crazy. Like if I ever needed anything, they're one call away, you know. And so I would tell my sister about this, like where it's going on at school, and then it's like, oh, you should move. Like okay, I should move. Go to a new school. I actually do pretty well there. I like the school. I like the teacher. The kids, some of them are mean, but you know, at this point, I've kind of like gotten used to it. It's like, you know what, kids are gonna be mean. I'll just be mean back, you know. But I found my core group that I stuck around with, and I kind of try to carry that on. The rest of sixth grade year was just like, you know what, day by day, it's gonna be okay, you know. My relationship with my siblings only grew stronger with my two sisters because they were constantly there with me. Like we tried being like more of a family in a sense, and it worked out a lot of the time. I felt like I enjoyed it, and so kind of like just stopped questioning about what's going on with my dad, and I kind of pushed that away. But then I'm having my graduation for sixth grade in a week. And I'm practicing and practicing. So we're staying late after school because we have to do this little walk ceremony thing. We have to talk more about graduate. It's literally like high school graduation. Like we have to stay and practice. It was crazy, right? And then the day before, I feel like the rush. Like we're at school, so I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna do this. Tomorrow. So then my mom comes to pick me up. It's like 5:30 at this point. We're driving home. We're driving over the bridge by the sign of Mount Rubidoux. And I see my dad on the side of the bridge walking. And I look at mom like, is that my dad? Yeah, it is. Now, like I told you earlier, my mom is the type of person where she doesn't share some things, you know? She tried to be open as much as possible, but when you're a kid, you shouldn't know everything. One of the things is that she still knew where my dad was. She knew what he was doing. And we'll get more into like how she told me because this was afterwards. But so I see him, I'm crying. I'm like, Dad, where have you been, right? He doesn't want to tell me, oh, bud, I've been like working. Like, I'm sorry, I've been busy. Like, I'm sorry I haven't seen you. Which, mind you, what? Sixth grade, I'm like 10, 11. Kindergarten, I'm like 5. So it's been 5 years and you've been working. Now, knowing me, like we all know in the moment when we're excited or something, we miss out on important information and we don't think till later. It's like when you get into a roast battle with your friends and you're like, oh, I should have said that like 2 hours later. I'm not thinking till later, like, could he have been working for 5 years that he couldn't stop by or come back home, you know? I just knew that all of his stuff was gone and my sister took over the room. Like, my mom and me had our own little room. We had bunk beds. So I'm like, Dad, I'm graduating elementary school tomorrow. Can you please come? I'll be there, man, for sure. I'm like, okay. Mom was like, get his number, because he had a little Obama phone. This is when Obama phones started rolling out, and bless those things, because that was my first phone. Those things are amazing, man. So I get his number down. Like, okay, he's going to come to my graduation tomorrow. I'm going to make my dad so proud, because I've had so many years to make my mom proud. Now I get to make him proud and show him that I accomplished something. And my mom doesn't tell me it, and I'm like just super excited, like I can't wait to see him. He's gonna be there. Tomorrow comes. I see my older sister, which she had a little balloon that said graduate. I remember it was black and white, said happy graduation, and it had the little cap on it too for college and high school, which we didn't get to dress up in cap and gown. So it would have been so cool if we did that. But no, I saw my mom and how happy I think she started crying. My mom is like a convulsive crier. When she starts crying, she don't stop for a minute.
Right.
But she starts crying, and I'm really happy. And I'm like, oh, my dad's supposed to be here. I start looking around. I don't see him anywhere. And it goes, my last name is Darian, so it's T. So I'm like towards the end. So I'm like, maybe he's showing up, taking his time, getting ready. He wants to look good. It has been 5 years, you never know. They get to S. He's not there. And then it gets to me. He's not there. And then we even get to Z. Nowhere to be found. And that crushed me for so long. I remember being happy in the moment, but then I cried to my mom later. Why didn't he come? Why didn't he show up? And I ended up texting the number that he had, and it was deactivated. I learned later on in life, maybe a year or two later, middle school is where I start to fully see everything. But my dad would hop from house to house because he was an addict, still is. He hasn't recovered ever. But so he would always use friends' phones. So I learned that the number is not working. He's not responding. I'm crushed. So then I start questioning, Mom, why? Why? Is it your fault? And she finally told me, your dad's a drug addict. And then she explains everything, that what the argument is he had been 5 months clean. He had tried to do a program, but he left. And one day when he was watching me, kindergarten me, by the way, he's watching me, he's like, I'm gonna go to the gas station to get cigarettes. He leaves, and my mom used to work late because she used to be a worker at McDonald's. She used to be a manager. So she would work late, because she was on call. When you become a manager, you're on call. She got home at 10, 11. I'm home alone. My dad isn't back. I think it's been if I try to remember what she said, it had been home alone for 3-4 hours.
Wow.
Which for a kindergartner,
yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do something like that. And so that argument was her flipping out on him because she found out what he did. He went to go get high again. And it crushed me, whoa, that's why? And so she kicked him out because he told her straight up that he couldn't do it. He couldn't handle staying clean. So 6th grade me, going into 7th grade, hearing that didn't do me too well. I was like, whoa. I carried that kind of guilt, am I the reason that he couldn't stay clean for a while? And then he started coming by the house again.
And this was middle school?
This is going into middle school. This is summer of 6th, going into 7th grade.
Okay.
Started coming by the house a little bit, and he would just say hi. He would stay the night, house hopping basically, but I didn't see it as that. I just saw I got to see my dad. I ended up asking him, why didn't you go to my graduation? Oh, I couldn't make it. And he lied to my face that he never told me what he was doing. I never questioned him about it until a year later. But he said, if you look at what I wear and how I dress, all those people are going to be dressed up. I don't want to embarrass you because I'm going to come looking like this. And I took that as an answer because I'm the same person. When I walked into church for the first time, it's how I was dressed to compare to everyone else. I'm thinking I need to be in a suit. So I understand that kind of feeling that you don't want to be an outcast. So I took that answer. I rolled with it. Started middle school, which was crazy because then I I was supposed to go to, it was Harupa Middle School. That was the plan.
Okay.
Go to Harupa Middle. And so we switched and I go to uni. I went to Uni Middle School.
Shout out to Uni.
Shout out Uni big time. You guys are awesome. I love Uni. I had a lot of fun memories there. But 7th grade year, I didn't really experience Uni that much because I ended up leaving almost by close to first semester. We'll get into that in a minute. But so I carried this guilt, right? Carried this feeling for a little while. So he would show up like every couple months at this point. He would show up to say hi, stay the night, get some food, and then leave. And what ended up happening is like he stopped showing around after I ended up moving schools. So we're in September. I had made some friends. I got a crush on this girl. It turns out later on she liked me. So I was kind of mad that I never got to like talk to her as much, but had a crush. I had a small friend group. But I ended up moving schools because I had a very close relationship with my cousins as well. My two older cousins, Anthony and Samantha, they were amazing. And they went to this school called River Springs. It's a charter school. But the reason why I went was because I was that student that like didn't try in school, or I didn't feel the need to try sometimes because I had no motivation at this point. Like, why do I need to try? 7th grade year, I'm going to this charter school. All the kids are like kind of like cool there. Some of them are a little weirder, like I'm not used to, but it's like I got to use them pretty fast. I'm like, you guys are cool. I like you guys. And then COVID hits. This was a big shift in my life. So it's March. We were supposed to go on spring break. And I remember this one kid, Damien. I got close with him. He was cool. Like he wasn't an outside of school friend, but he was still that school friend, you know? He ended up saying like, dude, have you heard that we're going to get like 2 weeks off for spring break? I'm like, you're lying. He's like, dude, look. And so we made a bet. And me and him made a bet to the whole school that watch. Friday, they're going to tell us we got 2 weeks off. I walked out of the school with $100 that day. The school announced literally 2 minutes before the bell rang to end school. They were like, so you will have 2 weeks off, but you guys will be back. We can't wait to see you. Then some parents were getting emails saying that we're not gonna come back. And so people are freaking out afterwards. And we're like, don't believe that. Come on, like we're gonna come back. Then we didn't. And so now I have to be online, right? That was weird because I already don't do good in school in person. How do you expect me to take this online? But what also happened was because my school is a charter school, they offer an at-home program. So for homeschool kids, so they already had an online program set up. So I heard that like schools had shut down and a lot of kids, all they had to do was just do work online. We had to attend class online too. Sucked. My attendance dropped so fast because I didn't know where to go and I'd just sleep in. But then at the same time, I started playing a game called Rainbow Six Siege. The amount of hours I racked on that game was crazy. But at the same time, my mom would be gone. Kids are at home. What do kids do best? They go outside. My mom started letting me go outside as long as I got my work done. So I started going out with Side, and I met a bunch of friends. Made a bunch of new friends. One of them became my best friend. His name was Devin. I met Chris. He was awesome. Angie I'd already kind of knew because she became friends with my other sister, my half-sister, Nana. Is what her name's Ainara, but we call her Nana. Nana ended up living in the same apartment complex as me for a while, but she ended up moving too. But I met Angie because of her. And Angie was the one that introduced me to some of my friends, but I met everybody else. I met Charles, I met Salam. And then there was this one girl, Brianna. And at first, Brianna did not like me at all. She's like, who are you? Because I tried acting like a friend to her because that's how I was. I'm like, I want to be friendly to everybody. Like, why not? And she didn't like that. She was the type of person where it's like, if I don't know you, I don't know you. We're going to keep it that way, right? I'm over here like, what's good? My name is Xavier. Nice to meet you, man. And Angie's introducing me. And then Brianna's like, don't shake my hand. I don't know who you are. Who knew like 2 years later, we'd be like best friends. all of summer of middle school. We finally stopped 7th grade. I was so happy when I didn't have to check online anymore. I was outside with all of my friends that I just made. They were awesome. We were doing anything and everything. Then 8th grade year rolls around. I had to go back online because COVID's still mass effective. Like we were technically supposed to be like quarantining. We were not quarantining.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, yeah, we were, but this place not. And so I told my mom, I don't want to go to school. I want to go to uni because I heard uni because all my friends that I met go to uni. And they were all saying that, dude, you have to go online for classes. All we have to do is work and we don't even do anything. We just cheat on it. Don't recommend it. Don't cheat. It does not get you far because I like had cheated real fast, preface this. Because I cheated a little bit in middle school, I had to take classes freshman year that I did not understand, and it affected me even to my senior year. I do not suggest it at all, not worth it. Anyways, back to the story, right? So I'm like, that sounds easy. I want to do that. I'm like, Mom, please let me go to uni, which I didn't tell her that was for the reason. I just said, I have a bunch of friends that are going to uni, please. I sign up for uni, I get accepted. They have online classes set up. And it's worse than the charter school because the charter school, we had a class at 8:30, ended at 10, and then we had a class at 1:30 that ended at 3. Uni was 8:30, one class, log off, second period starts at 9:30, log off, third period starts at 10:30, log off, you have fourth period, then you have lunch, then you have fifth and sixth. We weren't out of like class till like 2:30. And I'm in my own home and I'm like, what is going on? I'm stuck at a chair for hours. Wasn't fun. But then we got to go back to school December. It was like on and off. At first we got to go for, I literally kid you not, it was 2 days we went to school and they were like, you got to go back home. We were like, are you serious? So we went back home, but then we went back and we stayed into effect. So we had to wear masks constantly, which I was one of those people, I didn't really care because I thought I looked better with the mask on than off. So I was like, it's okay. I felt like Batman half the time. So I'm like, I don't care. So I got to see some of my friends there and it was fun. But then as well, I made new friends at uni and it was cool. Like these dudes were awesome. By this point, I'm kind of like, I have a really close relationship with my sister's dad. And because we were on and off at school, I would literally just skip school entirely. We would go out to go camp. It was at this place called Fisherman's Retreat out in Redlands. Love that place. He bought me my first BB gun. That was fun. I got to drive the golf cart around the track. He taught me how to fish and everything. My dad had like stopped coming around for a little while because I think he found out because my mom was dating again. So I think he was kind of bummed out. But it's like, I don't know, man. Sorry, you missed out on a few years. Church became like non-existent because we did go to this church called Living Word that my tia had worked at. And this was like it started out as a small church out in downtown Riverside, but the church ended up burning down because of an electrical fire because the homeless people would steal the copper out of there. And the church burned because the wires they took the copper out of 2 live wires, but I guess they had touched, burned the whole place down. I remember seeing the pastors cry and everything. My mom was on the news talking about how sad she was. She was with my tia. They were like crying. It was sad. And this one guy, his name was Brother Ray. Brother Ray was, he recovered from some sort of addiction. I don't know if I think it was alcoholism and drug addiction, but I don't know if it was one of them or both. I just know he recovered and he helped lead the men's home that the church supported. That dude was my role model. Like he was my rock, right? And he would call me Pastor X. Like that's where my nickname came from, was him. But we stopped going to that church, not because it burned down, but because they got into some waters with my tia. They ended up firing her for some crazy reason. So we stopped going to church because they also were like they were the type of Christians where it was like, if you need medication for your mental health, you are not a child of God.
Oh, wow.
And they told my mom that one time when she was going, because my mom, her backstory is a whole thing. She relied. She was a very mental health is a big issue with her. When they told her that during one of her like moments of just like, in my moments, I mean like few months where she was just going through it, they told her that, it was a no-go, right? So we stopped going to church. And at this point, my friends that I found, I learned that they would smoke. They smoked weed. And my like best friend, Devin, he kept me away from that for a while. But then one day I just got curious. I was like, let me go with you. Because I'm arguing with my mom constantly, like, for no reason. Like, she's just yelling at me for something. I'm like, I don't want to be home. Like, let me go with you guys. Let me go have fun. So, 8th grade year, I started getting into smoking. And for a while, I saw that as my, like, kind of like, get out of jail free card, basically, from life. And that carried into the summertime, which only got worse because now I had more freedom. But then my dad rolls around again because we're about to graduate again. It's crazy he pops up during graduations. I made jokes like that with my mom all the time, like, wow, you decide to show up on graduations? Appreciate it. But so I'm like, are you going to come to this graduation or are you going to miss out? Like, I'm probably going to miss. I'm sorry, son, but I'll see you afterwards. Okay, sure. What ends up happening is because COVID had like spiked again for whatever reason, our graduation was in my mom's car. We literally had a drive-through line. They had a little stage on the side. They had the principal and one of the associate directors of whatever. I've never seen a lady before in my life holding our diplomas. They would literally, like, they had a person hand her the diploma, and then she'd walk to the car with gloves on. She had like this like suit on, the doctor's suits, just to not get caught. Handed you your diploma. Wow. My mom literally yelled at the lady, you better let my son get on stage and take a picture fast. So I was just me in a tank top and shorts, hair's like crazy out of the place. And I'm, mind you, still fat at this point. I mean, I still am now, but I'm like way better looking, you know? I'm just kidding. But I'm short. Shout out to my short kings out there. No disgrace, but I'm like 5 foot. So a little 5 foot me on the stage holding my diploma. And through my mask, you could see it. Then I run down the stage, we go along. My dad shows up the next day. I was like, whoa, you did show back up. Cool. He gave me $100 and his bike. He's like, take care of it, but like ride it. That was we had a little conversation about it because, like I said, I would go camping with my sister's dad, right? That's how I got this scar right here on my lip, and I chipped my tooth. Everyone keeps asking me, finally time to tell the story. We were out Mountain Lakes, met these kids, we would go right around, and one morning we'd show each other where we lived at, or where we were staying at, so we would go, if one of us wanted to go hang out, we could go find each other. They come to my campsite early in the morning, like, let me go. My mom doesn't want to let me go. Jason, my sister's dad's like, let him go. Okay, go. We find this steep hill. Like, this thing was steep, right? It was narrow, and it would ride along. It was like the top of the campgrounds entirely. So we ride this down, we could ride all the way down. It was gonna be awesome. I'm going last. I'm on this Walmart bike, so the backwards pedals to brake. That's how it goes. You bike forward, and then you press back on the pedals to stop. That was how my bike worked, right? Which I love the thing. It had I think it was called like X-Shot or something on it on the side. It was red and black. I'm like, felt cool. My shoelace was untied, and I didn't think I'd need to tie it. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I had my helmet off because all of middle school I'd ride to uni, and I never wore a helmet because I thought that was dumb. And I'm standing on the top of the hill, and I have my helmet, but I have it like right here in front of me on the bike. And something instinct, like this was my first moment with God. I know this because there's no other way that something could explain this other than that. Because if you've ever had that moment where God speaks to you, which if you haven't, you will. I promise you will in the craziest moments. But this moment, God spoke to me. I looked down at my helmet and it was, put it on. That's all I heard. Put it on. And I ended up just putting my helmet on. I clipped it. I ended up pinching my chin a little bit. It hurt. I hated that. I was like, I would always, ooh, and then clip it because I hated pinching my chin, but I always did. But so I put it on. I go down. Mind you, I've rode my bike crazy before. Like I'm an expert at this point. Like I've stood on my bike. I've one hand rode it. Like I know I'm the cool kid. I can't do crazy tricks, but I can look cool while riding down the street. I go down. This old couple in a truck below the stop sign, like below it. And there's cars that are lined parked up on either side. So I go this way. The truck blows the stop sign. It's either I try to stop, I hit the truck, or I hit the cars. There was no other way. I didn't realize that I was already like about this much down the mountain or down the hill. So I brake. Because it's a backwards pedal, my shoelace gets caught in the gear. And it locks the bike. And so I flip forward. Boom! I hit the pavement. I slide a little bit. I like blacked. I've only almost passed out one other time in my life, and that was at a hospital. I black out. I wake up for a second. They're freaking out, like, are you okay? I'm so sorry. They put me on the back of the truck. I'm like crying. I look at myself. What's going through my head? Am I going to look like this forever? Like, that's what's going through my head right now is, am I going to look like this forever? Yeah. The pain hasn't set in. I'm in shock. My helmet came off, and there's a dent right here in the helmet. I ended up not going to the hospital because we were there this time because Mountain Lakes held this thing where they do trick-or-treating every Saturday for the month of Halloween. And I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital because I want to get candy. Every kid wants to do that. Like even 8th grade me was like, I want candy, man. Or 7th grade me, sorry. So I have one of the rangers, park rangers, help clean me up and everything, make sure I'm all good. And he tells me you know, if you didn't have your helmet on, with the spot that it hit, you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be living right now. I'm like, huh? You wouldn't be alive right now because where it hit was the frontal lobe of your brain. You would have been dead on impact. I'm like, whoa, you're lying to me. And it was just like this holy moment washed over me. And I'm like, it was this first sense of whoa, awe-shocking moment. So I talked to my dad about that a little bit, and I was like, I never rode a bike since. He's like, what, you haven't rode a bike since? I was like, I was too scared. I don't want to crash again. So literally 8th grade year, I didn't ride a bike. I walked to school. So he gave me his bike. He said, start riding it. And he leaves again, right? I was a little upset. So I was done with this at this point. It's going into 9th grade year. I go to North. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to text my dad. I end up texting him. I say this, Dad, I want you to make a choice because I'm going through it at home now. I'm literally going camping with Jason and my mom almost every weekend. But they were starting to argue. They were starting to get into fights, and it would affect me because Jason was an alcoholic. My mom didn't drink before she met him, but she would start to drink. And like I said, mental health issues and drinking does not mix. So both of them combined did not go well, you know? So I despised drinking for so long because it was seeing them drink and how it affected me just irked me, you know? So I texted my dad, said, I need you to make a choice. You choose me or choose the streets. Choose me or choose drugs. I poured my heart out into this message to him, and he hit me with, I choose, or it's not that easy to choose. It's not that easy to choose your son over a substance. Okay. That crushed me. So I told him, I'm not going to call you dad anymore. Don't come around the house. If I ever have kids, you're never going to refer them as your grandkids. They'll never know who you are. And I never texted him again. I blocked all his numbers. I was just done with him. So I went through freshman year not knowing what to do, but I knew that if I smoked, if I hung around with smokers, if I hung around with drinkers, I would make friends like that. And that's what I did. So I was outgoing with the smokers, the gangbangers, and the drinkers at school. And I would skip all my classes. I stopped doing the homework. I had all Fs by first semester. So my mom ended up deciding to pull me out of school and put me online. Online made it worse because now I was at home. I would stress eat all the time. I was depressed, you know? Until one day my sister decided to invite my family to church here. What do? We decided to come.
This was ninth grade?
Ninth grade. This is second semester of ninth grade year.
Okay.
This is around March.
Roughly what year?
2021.
Okay.
Right? Because I graduate 2025. Sorry, I literally had to do this math yesterday. So I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Maybe 2022?
It's 2022. Yeah. I was just thinking that. It's March 2022. We decided to come. It's all right. It's not too bad. But my sister ends up saying something to me. She's like, you should go to youth night. I heard they have it on Wednesdays. I'm like, for her, I'll impress her. But this church thing was not for me because I saw it as, if God was so good, why do all the bad things happen to bad people? Like, I just didn't know him, didn't care for him. I pushed him away, right? It's like, fine, I'll go for you. And then she talked about serving. I was like, if you serve, I serve, right? I kind of just did that because I didn't think she would serve. But she ended up signing up for something. And she signed up for the kids. I signed up for the coffee shop. Start in May, I came to Wednesday nights. I met my group. First immediate thought was, who are these people? I know nothing about you. Like, you guys are probably just rich people who come because God has blessed you with everything. That's it. Not knowing their struggles, not knowing anything. And the first night there, I had made them hate me. They didn't hate me. They just disliked me heavily. Because hate's a strong word, but disliked me heavily because I needed to be seen, right? I needed to be heard. My identity was attention. And so every problem that they had, mine was worse. You know, because that's what I saw. Like, dude, you have nothing to complain about. Look what I've lived through. An addictive father, a mother who is so angry at the world that she takes it out on everybody in any given moment. I have an alcoholic stepdad, basically. They had remarried, so I had an alcoholic stepdad who, when he got angry, it was a whole fight. I felt unseen at home. I'm smoking. School was horrible. Come on, what do you guys got to complain about? Look at me. Then I got invited to go to camp by my leader. And I didn't expect my mom to let me go. But I ended up going to summer camp. When I tell you, whoa. The first time my father, our God, showed himself to me was the night before cry night. My group was having their own cry night. They were explaining everything they were going through. And I faked my tears. I kind of I would address them, but then talk about myself. Mm-hmm. And my leader saw it, but they didn't see it. Or they probably did and told him without me knowing, right? So on cry night, after the meeting, he calls me over. We're just talking. He's like, X, you need to stop with the lies. And that was the first time that someone had reached out to me. Mm-hmm. Like that, seen past this character, this image that I put forth and saw inside. And so I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm crying, whoa. This is what it's like to open up to God. Mm-hmm. And my first time encountering Jesus wasn't this moment where I prayed to him and he spoke to me. It wasn't the helmet incident with my bike where he told me to put it on. It wasn't this outward affection towards God. It was given this chance to be a humble person. I talked to my leader and I told him I was going to apologize to each group of the member and talk with them one-on-one and show them that I truly care about them and I'm sorry. The reason why I said I felt Jesus Christ in that moment was because each one of them said, hey, I forgive you, and how much they loved me and how they still wanted to be there for me even after what I did to them. That's who Christ was. Like, if we look in the Gospels, when Peter saw Jesus again, he's like, I rejected you. You shouldn't love me. It's like, it's okay. That was my first time encounter. Just was, you hurt them, but they don't want to hurt you. And that moment just like, it broke me internally and kind of like just set the forward motion of like, this is who God is. I ended up at the message day, it said like the next day, like, who accepts Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior? I ended up raising my hand. I took a fourth for that, and I believe I stood by that. Sophomore year was now rolling in, and I'm still smoking. Like it's now getting worse because I'm getting into like these whole deals with friends and everything. I accept Jesus Christ, but like I don't know how to live that, you know? And so I would go to church on Sundays. I would go serve at the coffee shop sometimes on Saturdays. And then I would like go to Wednesday nights, and I judged myself. I was like, I'm not this perfect Christian. I can never be like, why? Why me? What did I do? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, look at me and look how bad I am. And it got worse, you know, for a long time. Like, I just like couldn't get over it. I couldn't shake it. I just like couldn't move past this. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not a Christian.
In the midst of feeling all of that, how did your group help support you?
Oh,
through
man.
some of those seasons?
I was just gonna say that. And then like a lot of the time I would go to Wednesday nights, like I said, and they would just remind me, dude, we're not called to be perfect. There was 2 people in my group that kind of pushed me the most and like helped me out the most. His name's Josiah and Phoenix. Phoenix and Josiah I looked at as perfect Christians because I saw them as role models, because I was like, they've never smoked, I didn't know their story, right? I didn't know their testimonies. So I just saw what they would do, their works, and I'm like, that's it. That's what I need to do. And I'm like, I can never amount to that. I'm not a Christian. And honestly, my group didn't do anything crazy. You want to know what they really did that like helped? They told their stories. They told their struggles. Josiah shared a big struggle that he was going through for a while through his life. And I was like, I struggle with that. Hey, we're not so different. And then my group, I started listening more and more. The more I listened, the more I learned that we're not so different. And that feeling of knowing you're not an outcast anymore, and my group embracing that, because I opened up to them. I was like, I feel like an outcast. Like, I'm not the perfect Christian like you guys. They opened up and like, bro, none of us are perfect Christians, but we're not called to be perfect. And they embraced that, and it like opened my arms more, which leading into second year camp. This was the year I kind of like just like solidified that I'm not a perfect Christian, you know, that like God has something for me. And that's what that camp was. It moved me in a way that was different than others. It was like, hey, you're not perfect, and that's okay. And it taught me that. I got to hear the messages were a lot on like we talked about. I remember one message vividly. It was the thief on the cross. It's like, he literally just said, Jesus, when you go to heaven, save a spot in your kingdom for me. We're not called to be perfect. We're called to be humble, accept Jesus as our Lord and Savior. And that's really it. The works is what we decide afterwards because of the love we have embraced. And then so I didn't start reading my Bible more till like junior year, because I didn't like really get into it like that until I kind of like felt convicted from everything, because I was still like doing bad in school, but I would go to youth and I would see all the students on stage doing student panels and everything, like, hey, I want to do that. But it was for the wrong reasons. It was for attention, you know, like I want people to see me still. But the more my leader would start incorporating reading our Bibles, it kind of fixed that attention span for me, and it kind of like addressed me to like, Instead of like doing that for attention for me, do it attention for God, you know?
Mhm.
Carried that through junior year, and it taught me that. And then I started reading my Bible like more, kind of like I actually tried to read it at summer camp on our solo times. Because usually I spend my solo times, we would just go back to the cabin, which I don't recommend at all. Please enjoy your solo time. I'm gonna share the story right now, and it's gonna like embrace it. Because I didn't know where to start. And I've done the thing where it's like, oh, we'll start in Genesis, read the whole Bible through. Never have I done that. Never, ever. Even when I started doing these series online on my Instagram, I never started in Genesis 1:1. I started in one of the Gospels. And so when we would go into solo time, I didn't know about the Gospels like that yet. Like I knew, obviously, Jesus, but I know that's what we call the Gospels. Like the Gospels is Jesus. I didn't know that. So I never knew to open up to them or open up to the beginning, Old Testament, New Testament. That's what I knew. So I was like, God, in this quiet time, I'm just going to flip through my Bible and let you speak. If you are ever stuck when reading, just tell God to open up your Bible for you. And I did that, and like, I can't even recite the verses. Like, just in the moment, they affected me and like they moved me. And I felt this immense joy to come to Cry Night where we had this communion going on. And for a while, I had been praying to God about like, what do I do for you, God? Like, what am I going to do for my life? Because I don't know. I'm going to be a senior. Like, I need to figure out something. I thought I was going to be a cop, a cook, at one point, a music artist, like whatever, man. I had my goals. But I was like, God, just lead me. Cry Night comes, and I tell this kid, Parker, he come to first time camp ever. He took communion for the first time. He didn't even know what he was doing. So I walked him through it. He was so excited. It was beautiful. I just remember words started flowing. I'm like, Parker, he has so much more for you. If you thought communion was just it, just wait until you see the plan he has for you. Because the truth is, like, dude, he has so much lined up for us. I never understood the doors thing for a while until I talked to Parker about it. Like, I told him about, like, God has so much for you. It's like, you will see that he shuts doors and then opens them. And he will have a door open that leads into a hallway to another door that he has specifically made for you that's already open. And I saw that when Vivi ended up coming up to me right after. Now, she could have said this nickname any other way, right? Any other way, phrased it differently, and I would have thought nothing of it. Wow, Pastor X. And I didn't hear Vivi say that. I heard Brother Ray say that. And it was like, kind of like a flash, like kindergarten me in that church in Brother's Way is like, Pastor X, where you been at, man? To now, Brother Ray's watching me. He's like, Pastor X. And he had passed away in 2020. So it's like, there was no way anyone would have known. So I lead into senior year. I'm now like full-fledged open. But now I'm struggling with this feeling of like fakeness. I don't want to be fake anymore. I'm tired of living two lives. Because my friends were like bullies at school, basically. Like, they were the type where they were loud, obnoxious, you know? Like, we would say whatever's on our mind. We were mean to each other. So I made the decision to like, kind of like, follow God and let him help me. If it was for him to cut them off, it was for him to close that door, right? I kind of like dreaded cutting them off. And then kind of like going into winter break is when it happened. Got into a petty argument over nothing. And they stopped talking to me. So, okay, God, that's you. I started reading my Bible over winter break. And this happened because I got my first panic attack ever. I never knew what a panic attack was. I never knew what it looked like. I just remember one night I was watching TikTok and I got this it was literally like just theories about what happens after death. And it just started freaking me out. Like, what does happen after death? Like, I know I'm going up to heaven, but what if I don't? Or what if that's not true? Like, at first it popped in my head like, what if it's just nothing? But then it's like, obviously that's not true. Okay, so what? Everything's gone and then I'm in heavens for eons? Like, that's it? What happens? And I'm literally like, I'm hyperventilating on the couch. My face is red. I'm sweating. I'm about to cry. So I'm like, I need to forget that. So I tried anything. I tried watching a comfort movie, which shout out to Tangled. Tangled is amazing. It didn't help. I tried going back to TikTok. Like, I tried anything and everything to get I even tried eating food and I couldn't. I wanted to throw up. So the only thing I could do that I knew would work, I prayed. And I prayed hard. For like 5 minutes, I prayed straight to God, like, take this away because I know you're there. I know what happens after that. I'm called to be with you. Let this feeling go. The second I said amen, nothing. My face, I was fine. I didn't feel sick. I felt calm. I felt at peace. And I was like, if I am to die tomorrow, who am I going to lead to God to find that peace I just felt? I realized I needed to make a change. And I saw that I was arguing with my friend group, and I saw God started this for a reason. So I cut my friend group off. I started reading my Bible more and more. The more I did it, the more I remembered how at peace I felt. I should have carried my Bible with me. But I have one specific verse. Yeah, my bad.
That's why I said bring it.
I know. I got one specific verse in mind that it's a new one. I got to remember the pages, you know? It was just, this kept coming back to me no matter what I did. And it spoke to me, you know? And it's like, I never thought that, like, when you had to have a verse to memorize, I thought it had to be this insane verse. So mine for a long time was in Matthew's. I even forgot the number. That's how you know, like, it doesn't have to be a specific verse. The verse I used to tell all the time was when Jesus tells the disciples that with people, nothing is possible, but with God, anything is possible. Yes, that's a good verse. It's amazing. Live by that, but it doesn't have to be your favorite. I made it my favorite because it's like, I need to sound an outstanding Christian. But I learned that my favorite verse came to the Lord's Prayer. So when I would read it and I would look back at it, it kind of like just spoke this moment of like peace. Because every time I look at it, every time I read it, it's just, I'm losing words right now trying to think of it because it's like, it's just this peaceful prayer. When you constantly read it over and over again, it goes, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Just that alone carries. Like, in the verses before, it talks about how people were worried about being able to eat, being able to sleep, being able to be forgiven of their debts. Because in those times, like, debt was a powerful thing. If you couldn't pay it's like prison rules. If you couldn't pay your money back, you had issues. And usually the issue was ending your life. These people are worried if they can't pay back. It's saying, forgive us of our debts. And forgive our debtors. The people who have done wrong against us or wish to do wrong, forgive them. And then hallowed be thy name. For a long time I struggled with, what does hallowed mean? When you search it up, the definition is literally holy. At the beginning we are saying, let your name be holy. And the more I read that, the more I hear it, the more we talk about the Lord's Prayer, it's the foundation that's set way into my life. And it just carries on. And it carried on to now. In my senior year, am I saying that I'm this total perfect Christian that I wish I was? No. But I look back at this verse when I struggle. Because I realize that life is not going to always be this up and up. The Bible talks about seasons. There's a season for everything. Right now, we all walk through a season. And, it's not that because I've learned of God and I've learned of His love that I want to chase that forever and ever, and now I can do no wrong. It's that His love is so great that I chase it and share it even when I do wrong. Because what I've learned, the more and more I grow, and I know I'm only 17, but we all grow. You will never tell somebody the right words, ever. We don't have that ability to give them the perfect words. But God does. So instead of trying to be like this, I need to say the perfect words to somebody to lead them. I need to live the perfect life to lead this to somebody. Instead, just in the moments where somebody just sees that, hey, you used to smoke a lot and now you stopped. Why? Oh man, because I chose God, It's I'm not saying, what? No, I never smoked. Who are you talking to? You got me mixed up. I did. And I let it go because I found something greater. When you actually be humble and be willing to share that, that's when people want to look back and be like, I would have lied to him. Said you got the wrong guy because my image is everything. But this dude is saying that his image is God, and if God already sees him for who he is, he doesn't need to be perfect. And so that's what I've been kind of living by. The more I grow, even when I plan to go to college, I have this interview for CBU, praying I might get in. Lance up, you already know. But I want to pursue ministry, not because I want to look good and be an image of something, but it's that I want to help guide the next generation to know that, hey, your image wasn't set when you put on a set of clothes. It wasn't set when you hung out with a group of friends, when you claimed a set, when you said you're for the streets, when you built it on a relationship. Your image has been set in God since the day you were born. So why try to be perfect in the image that you were never meant to fill when the image that has already been given to you was already filled by Christ Himself? And so that's my plans. That's what I hope to live by. Even in the moments where I struggle the most, you can ask one of my friends. We made a pact to tell each other when we do something wrong to keep each other accountable. I've struggled with smoking a lot. It's always been a scapegoat for me, Even up recently, I ended up texting her saying, hey, I messed up. I smoked again. And you know what she did? Instead of saying, I'm mad at you now. Why couldn't you have told me when you felt the urge instead of telling me afterwards? Said, I'm proud that you shared that with me. I know it was hard. Thank you. I'm not going to tell you that it was okay because it wasn't, but I want you to know you are loved. That God loves you. If we lead our lives talking like that to somebody who messed up, we'll change somebody. And that's what I want to do. I want to be that person where somebody reaches out, even in the uncomfortable, and tells me I messed up. And I want to tell them, like, hey, you are loved. Was it okay? No. Don't make excuses that it was okay. But you're loved and you're forgiven. And that's what I hope to inspire others to do as well.
Thanks, that's all. I mean, you just ran with it. I didn't have to ask you more questions.
My bad.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing your story and being honest and open about that. And I think the Lord's obviously continually working on you and is going to do some big things for your life.
I appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you for having me here. It's an opportunity that I'm blessed to have.